going to do personally?
It's not just about selling the coalition. It's about selling a plan to Canadians. It's about talking about the economy. It's talking about what's happening to Canadians. It's the need for us to work together. It's the need for us to create a clear response for Canadians on two issues. One issue is democracy and how our democracy is supposed to work and how our parliamentary system is supposed to work. And it's about the economy. It's about what's happening to Canadians, what's happening to communities. How do we get a stronger response for people who are devastated by layoffs? How do we get a stronger stimulus for people who are affected, who've lost much of their savings, whose value of their homes has gone down dramatically, and who are facing tough times economically? These are the people that we have to respond to, and these are the people to whom we have to meet the test as a parliament.
At least one caucus member said that none of that should be done under Mr. Transion's leadership, but he has to.
Mr. Dion is still our leader, and he will be the leader until the convention of the party at the beginning of May.
One member of Parliament has said that you won't be able to move forward with Mr. Dion as leader of the coalition.
Écoutez, la coalition, c'est une bonne idée.
Coalition is a good idea. The coalition is an idea I know something about because I did the same thing 23 years ago. So I'm not someone who's going to say that it's impossible. It is in fact an idea that can work and that will work. With Mr. Dion or not? Well, the reality of the situation is that we will have a new leader in April. So it's clear for us that we will have a process underway in the party to reach the proper conclusion for our democracy. And we have to respect the Constitution of the Liberal Party, and that's what we intend to do. But what is critical is to talk to Canadians about the economy and about our democracy. Because Mr. Harper has transformed our Canadian democracy and has in fact abandoned the idea of Parliament. He's suspended the work of Parliament and he's transformed the government into a regime. We no longer have a democratic government. We have a sense that this is Mr. Harper's regime. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a change I will not accept. And I think that many Canadians will see that as well.
Just take it. No, look. I'll tell you what my concern. You want to know my concern about prorogation is it means that somebody who wants to avoid the will of Parliament is at will simply suspending Parliament. It is, as Scott Bryson said yesterday, it's like somebody who knows he's going to fail an exam pulling the alarm bell before he walks into school. It is the wrong thing to do. And it's wrong for Canadians because it means we can't then get on with an alternative government with a better plan. Mr. Harper does not have a plan. Everything about his economic statement has been discredited, either by himself, either by his own ministers, or by external experts saying there's nothing there, or by the people of Canada who know they want a stronger response than the one that they've had. Well, what kind of a free press what kind of a free press and free media would be impressed by the strategy of a Prime Minister who suspends Parliament? I can tell you, other people may fall asunder and get down and say, gosh, she's a master strategist, and isn't this wonderful? I've got a little bit more pride than that as a Canadian. I think that somebody who suspends Parliament is no longer worthy of the confidence of Parliament.
So would you say your enthusiasm for the coalition process and for campaigning for it distinguishes you from other leadership candidates?
I don't know what it distinguishes me from. All I can tell you is that we worked hard as a party to provide an alternative to the Governor General so that we could avoid an election within 3 months of the previous election. We've worked hard to work together on a plan, and we're continuing to work hard on the details of that plan. We're going to be working with our coalition partners to make sure that we've got a great plan for Canadians and that it's very specific and very detailed. And so Mr. Harper can do his work, but I frankly don't regard his government as legitimate anymore. His government is there because he's avoided the will of Parliament, because he's avoided the voice of Parliament, and because he's been afraid of Parliament. This is a man who's afraid to show up for work. And a man who's afraid to show up for work because he doesn't know what consequences or that he might be fired if he shows up is not somebody in whom I have a great deal of confidence, and it's not somebody about whom I'm very impressed.
What does the coalition do next? Will you have to launch an election-style campaign to counter the expected?
Well, clearly we have work to do with respect to talking to Canadians about our plan and our approach, and we have work to do about talking to Canadians about what the alternatives are. But I can't believe that people would just sit back and say this is business as usual because the Prime Minister has just suspended Parliament. I guess we'd better go back to doing something else. And isn't he an impressive strategist? I mean, maybe I'm just an old-fashioned Democrat. But, you know, these are things that, to me, I can't remember a time. I have friends calling me from other countries saying, oh, don't worry, we've seen this happen in third world countries before. We've seen, you know, parliaments get suspended and people pull fast tricks in order to not have to face the will of Parliament. But in Canada, to me, it's not for me to say that. It's for me to say that the person who put the Governor General in an impossible position is Mr. Harper.
Are you sure you're going to vote against the budget personally?
I'll do one more.
Who adopts most of your ideas? Do you not think feel compelled to pass a budget vote?
I think what we're going to see over the next while, I mean, there's a lot of ifs in your question, but I think what we're going to see in the next while is the development of two alternative approaches. Not only alternative approaches to the economy, but alternative approaches to how you run a government. How do you reach out? How do you reach out in a nonpartisan way? Mr. Harper came out of his meeting with the Governor General and said, I want to act in a nonpartisan way. Then the first question Mr. Harper was asked was about the financing of political parties, and all he could say was, we were right, they were wrong, we were right, they were wrong. I'm not sure that playing well with others is Mr. Harper's great strength, and that still remains the great strength of how to organize yourself in a minority parliament. Thanks very much, guys.